work, so I ended up buying this one right before the day before we went to our Hawaii vacation. But I didn't know how to format the SD card. No one explained it to me. So once I came back, I researched it, formatted the card. So hopefully now it'll film for more than a minute or so without automatically shutting off. But it's exciting. I've had this car since the last day of 2017, I think. I think it was 2017. It was the last day of maybe 2016, I think, the very last day. So it was only 2 years old then. It was a 2014. I got a really good deal on it. Talked him down $6,000 by walking away. And it's been a long dream. I haven't had a car of my own. I mean, a car. The work truck is nice. I love my truck, and it's been paid off for years. It runs great. It looks great. It sounds great. Very, extremely reliable, and I'm thankful to have it. But at the end of the day, I miss having a car. You know, it's got a harsher ride. It's not as comfortable as this. So I've wanted my own car for over 10 years now and haven't had one. We hit really hard times. We lost our house. I lost all my cars, and I kind of swore off cars. I said, you know what? I can never go through that kind of loss again. I'm done with cars. I'll just be happy with my truck and, you know, make sure my wife has something that's reliable and good to drive. And that was it. I just kind of put it out of my mind, and you know, things were doing better. My business had picked up, and my wife was certainly doing better, and the truck was paid off, and I'm like, God, you know, I can actually afford another car. And you know, we ended up getting a brand new Dodge Charger when we went down for Christmas a couple years back, and we couldn't believe how nice it was. Yeah, about 2 years ago, and I couldn't believe how nice the handling was, and how nice the ride in particular was, and the seats, and how comfortable it was. And it's basically, it's an E-Class Mercedes chassis and suspension, and I was impressed by it. I said, you know, in the car that we had, the 2014 Chevy Malibu, was brand new, loaded, but we weren't happy with the way it rode. It just was very uncomfortable. It wasn't riding well. You take any trip that's over an hour long in it, and my God, your back would kill you, your lower back. The seats were really uncomfortable, especially for a long trip to Los Angeles. So we ended up we were going to get a little Nissan Sentra or Altima or something, and they were out of those, and go, well, here, we can put you in this for no extra charge. It's a bigger car, but we've got a brand new Dodge Charger RT. I said, oh yeah, that'd be great. I've always wanted to drive one of those. I've never driven one. And man, we drove that thing from the Ontario airport all the way down to Anaheim Hills. So we had a chance to get behind the wheel for some time, my wife and I both, and loved it. My God, it was so comfortable, and it had so much power, like my truck. And I said, man, I'd really like to get one of these, you know. And now I'm anxious to drive one of the new Challengers, which I had never driven. Now, I had two 1970 Dodge Challengers. One had a 318 in it, and the other one was a 440 Magnum RT, orange, with an automatic, which I absolutely love. That thing did 146 miles an hour on the freeway, just brutally fast, huge burnouts, a really nice car. And I wrecked it, sadly. I did a big drag race early in the morning before going to work down at Hermosa Beach, and lost control at, you know, 70 miles an hour, and went over a curb with it and just fucked it all up. The body was okay, but the frame was bent really bad, and it's basically a unibody car. So once you damage the frame, it's all comprised of the whole body, kind of comprises the strength of the car. So once the integrity of that's weak, and that's it. So I sold the car for good money. Actually, got all my money back out of it, even though I sold it wrecked, because the car was fairly valuable. But I knew inside it would never be the same, and since then I've lamented it. I said, my God, of all the cars I've had, that was really my favorite muscle car, even over my 70 SS Chevelle with a 4-speed. And I've had a lot of nice cars, and GTOs, and 6 Trans Ams, and, you know, a lot of some Vets, and, you know, a lot of nice cars. But that Dodge Challenger was kind of like the quintessential muscle car for me, and I've kicked myself ever since. After losing the last 4 or 5 cars that I had, this economic collapse in 2007 and 8. I said, that's it. I could never afford these muscle cars again. I'm pretty much done, you know, with cars. I mean, I'm not going to be able to afford them anymore. I just cannot sink the money into them and then ever risk anything like this happening again and losing something. And so I kind of put it out of my mind. But like I said, things picked up, and I said, you know, it's doable. If I get something where the payment is low, like my truck or less. My payment on my truck was $550 a month, which is very affordable. I can make the money to make that payment in like a day to 2 days. I can generate the money to make that payment on. I could even afford, you know, probably $1,000 a month payment, but I haven't. You know, my wife's car is the same price, so basically I get 2 cars for the price of one for what I can afford, and that's kind of my deal. My goal is to pay off both of those cars and get them paid off the next 4 or 5 years. So, you know, we went out and we looked at the brand new Dodge Challengers. Oh my God, I loved them. I drove a brand new black Shaker 2017 model. It was black on black with, you know, flat black stripes. It had the Shaker hood and everything. It was really a nice car. Actually on my way right now to get gas. On fumes. This thing is almost on empty. I've been driving it around and I haven't had a chance to really to drive it. You know, I just got it back from the dealer yesterday. But anyway, yeah, I mean, everything had worked out. It was nice on the new ones, but you know, they were $44,000, and then with the dealer markup, and then all your, you know, even with my good interest rate, I got a 2.99 interest rate, which is really good because my credit was spotless, and I had paid the truck off, and all my other debts were pretty much paid off. So it was easy to get a car. And I said initially I'll let my wife drive it for a year. It'll be like our car, with hers to drive to work. I still have my truck. And then we were hoping to find her a car on the following year. I just wanted to kind of get out of the debt that I was in. 2015, I had an extensive back surgery, which I was out of work for close to 7 months, and really hurting financially. So I've been living off from a credit card, which I never ever use. And we had to live off a credit card for 7 months. God, this line is packed in here. And I'm getting gas at the Costco gas station right now. It's the cheapest gas. I have to put premium in all of my vehicles, so it's so much cheaper here. It's like, you know, $3.50, $3.60 a gallon. The regular gas stations, it's, you know, well over $4, so it's good savings. And so we looked at the new Challengers, and I liked them. I said, God, they want so much. They want like $3,000 down, and you know, $2,500, $3,500 down. The payment was going to be more than I wanted, and I wasn't thrilled with the interior. I really liked the 1970s style interior that they had on the 2014 and up. So I quickly went home and did all the research, and quickly found out that 2014 was the last year of the 1970s styling with the one-piece taillight. And I'm getting ready to get gas here, with the one-piece taillight and the kind of the 70s style interior, which I liked a lot, and that's what I wanted. So we went and we looked at the new ones, and they had maybe 6 or 7 RTs there that I could have chosen from. I didn't really like any of the colors. I didn't want another black car. The black one was really nice, and it was loaded with every option, but it was just more money than I wanted to spend. And I saw this on the lot. They just cleaned it up and just put it out on the lot on the day that we were there. I go, what's the deal with that one? He goes, oh, we just pulled that out in the lot. We haven't even officially put it out for sale yet. We just had it cleaned it up, and we're going to put a window sticker on it probably sometime today. Would you like to look at that? I go, yeah, I'd like to. You know, and I looked and I saw that it was the last year of the 2014 models. So I was excited about it. And then drove it, and I saw it only had 14,000 miles, but they wanted like 34,000 for it or something. I said, well, it's 10,000 less than a new one. The mileage isn't bad, but still a little more than I want to pay. I knew what they were worth, and I said it should be a little under, you know, 30 grand. So I made an offer on it. They kind of laughed at my offer, and I said, well, that's it. Thanks for your time. And I walked away, and the guy's like, no, we can work a deal. I said, no, you've already made your deal, and apparently you can't do it. You want too much down, but thank you anyway. And I just quickly removed myself from the place and got out of there. And that was pretty much it. Then we took my truck back at the last day of the year to write it off my taxes, and I was going to get brakes and tranny service and, you know, a whole bunch of maintenance, like a couple $1,000s worth of work done to it. So I took it in. I figured I could write it off on my taxes that year, the last day of the year. It's, my truck used to make a really good write-off on for my business, and they saw me pull up on the lot, and they thought I was back to get the Challenger. I said, "Oh, no, I'm here to take my truck in, but thanks anyway." And the guys, last day of the year, we can make you a hell of a deal on that Challenger if you still want it, Dean. I don't know. And my wife was with me, so we were kind of talking about it, and they said, "Okay, we're gonna have to leave the truck here until tomorrow. You know, we can give you a ride home." I said, "No, my wife's here with me. She followed me over here. Well, she'll give me a ride home. I'll just pick it up tomorrow." And my wife said, "You want to look at the car again? Maybe we could strike a deal with them." And I go, "I'm not up to the up and down thing. I've already been there, done that." But I started thinking about it, and I go, what could it hurt? You know, I'll go ahead and try. So we went back in, we ground a deal out. I got a really good deal on the car. I got it for $28,000 with only $50 down on it, because I just put so much money down on my truck to fix it. That was pretty much my down payment that I was going to use for the new car. But I got a really cheap payment, you know, $550 a month, which is cheap for me. That's cheap for a new car payment today. And then I got the extended warranty and gap insurance on top of, so if anything breaks, it's covered for, I don't know, 75,000 miles or 5 years, whichever comes first, I think. Free rent a car, gap insurance, everything. So if the car gets totaled, it pays the loan off, and plus I get a new car. I mean, it's a good deal. So it cost me like $50 more a month. It would have been like at $498 a month, but with the extended warranty and gap insurance, it ended up being about $50 more a month. So it's a good deal. I'll continue this in a minute. I got to pull up here and get gas, and then I'll continue where I left off here on this rant. All right, just fill this thing up with premium. My local Costco. Now I'm heading back. So yeah, I mean, the rest is history. I mentioned it in one of my earlier videos, how I bought the car. I got a great deal on it. It doesn't have the sunroof or the heated seats, but other than that, it's got, you know, the killer stereo, GPS, power, everything. I mean, it runs great. I've got a great coverage warranty on it, good insurance, everything on it. So it's a good car. And what my goal was I wanted to get one last car for me. Not a daily driver, not something to run into the ground that put on 100,000 miles in a couple years, but something that I could, excuse me, hang on to for life. And have one car that, you know, I think of all the cars I've had, and I had so many friends and family members, "Oh God, dude, why didn't you keep that car? Why did you sell that car? That was stupid. You should have kept, that was a keeper," you know. And I thought of all the cars that I had, and, you know, I love my 72 Corvette and my 70 SS Chevelle, and I've had some really nice cars that were keepers. It would be worth a lot of money today, but they'd be worth almost so much money to drive an old 70 SS Chevelle on the street. If someone ever ran a light and hit that thing, you could never replace it, you know. I'd be really devastated, and that was kind of my problem with that. Some of these older cars is really too rare. They're really too rare to drive all the time, and to, you know, to drive hard, and they're not as reliable as they could be to take on trips. In California, it gets really hot, 105, 107 degrees in the summer, and these older cars, especially big blocks like I had in that Chevelle, would overheat. You know, and you forget about air conditioning and cup holders and all that. So I thought of it. I said, you know, the only one really making a true muscle car is especially the Camaro. And even though they're a little bit faster, the motors are a little quicker in the performance models in those than the base Hemi that I'm driving here. They have a little more horsepower and they aren't quite as heavy. But at the same time, they aren't, it's not the same as this. I mean, this is a true muscle car. And it gets a lot of looks. You see a million Mustangs and Camaros in the road, and it's like, it's not that big of a deal. A lot of them are V6s anyway. This car gets a lot of looks in the road when you drive it, even though it's a very kind of a stealth mode with a dark gunmetal gray. I just love the way the car looks, and I'm excited about modding it and making it more my own visually and otherwise. So I've had the thing sitting in my garage for literally the bulk of the year since Christmas, since my wife got that Maxima, and even then the brakes felt really bad on them. They felt like they were getting down there. I put my camera phone and slid it in between the slots in my rim and looked in there, and I could see that, oh shit, these pads are really thin. They're getting way down. In fact, one of them had started to go into the rotors the last couple weeks, which I discovered. Every day I drive it a little bit. I take it out once a week, take it to the grocery store, or I take it to one of my jobs one day a week that wasn't too far, so I could kind of leave early in the morning and barely use the brakes. Use the brakes no more than I had to, and just to kind of keep the battery going. It's got a very expensive battery in this. It's in the trunk, and it's not the kind of a car that you want to let the battery get low in, because it costs hundreds of dollars to replace the battery in it. And then I had a recall notice I got earlier in the year for the alternator in it, which initially I took it in and was going to have it done right away. They go, well, we don't even have the parts to replace it yet, but we'll let you know. So I said, all right, well, I'll just, I'll park the thing. I don't want to drive it and have the alternator take a shit on me while I'm taking a road trip with my wife, or the brakes are shot in it. It always pulled to the right. You take your hand off the wheel and it would just immediately go to the right. That's one of the worst alignments I've ever had on a used car. And so that bugged me. Every time, I can never just relax. Like, I take my hand off the wheel now and it tracks straight. I just had a four-wheel alignment done yesterday, so we waited, and because I was out of work for so long and I had this credit card, I went ahead and put, I had about $9 grand I had lived off from on this credit card while I was out of work pretty much an entire year, most of a year. So I went and got a no-interest credit card and used it just for being, when I had that downtime. And we lived off it, but we never pay interest. We always, like American Express, we'll charge our card, we pay it off that month, so we never have to pay interest. That's my way of dealing with finance, with money. I don't like to pay any more interest than I have to. We've got locked in at a 3.2 interest rate on our house, which you'll never get that again. I got a 30-year mortgage, locked in at that to pay it off. There's no way in hell I'd ever get that if I refied today. It'd be five something. So I'm all about low interest rates and saving money. That's a real big thing for my wife and I. So, and then when I was getting down about a year ago, right before my wife got her car, we transferred that entire amount of that car, the balance, to another interest-free credit card, which they give you like a year interest-free. But then all of a sudden it was coming up, that was due, we couldn't get another one. And so I've been paying off this $9 grand. I got it down to like the last 4,000 bucks. And so I've been focusing on paying off this credit card for the last 6 or 7 months. And that's basically why I've said, you know what, I'm not going to fuck with the car. I'm going to wait until I get this credit card paid off so I can sleep at night. I don't have to pay all this, because the interest goes up to like 25% if you let that, when you start paying interest on it. So as long as you pay it off before the interest is due, it's a great, beautiful thing. You were able to basically to borrow money for free, which is a great thing, and then build your credit up at the same time. So it worked out good. I was real happy with the deal, and so that's why I didn't do the brakes right away, and the alignment and all that. So I finally took it in yesterday. The rotors were wasted in the front. The guy that had this before must have drove the hell out of it, because the brakes were just shot. I've never seen a car with less than 25,000 miles with brakes that are rotors that are as worn out as these things were. So I said, you know what, fuck it, just put new rotors on it, all new ceramic pads. They gave it a four-wheel alignment. It tracks straight. The steering wheel's perfectly straight the way I like it. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm real happy with it. day that I've actually had the car to where I can drive it, and it tracks straight. Take my hand off the wheels, it stops straight. Thing stops on a dime. The brakes feel really solid now. This has the blacktop edition with the oversized brakes, so it has the heavy-duty brakes on it. That's not as nice as the newer ones that have the Brembo 6-piston brake calipers and all that, but to me that's overkill. I drive the thing like a human being. I don't beat it up and drive it too fast, so I'm real easy on brakes. My wife waits till the last minute to get on the brakes, and it makes me cringe when I'm driving with her. She'll wait till the very last minute to brake, and I know that didn't help this thing either, with her, adding her 2 cents to, driving this thing like that. But anyway, I got it back. It runs great. It's nice to be back. I wanted to do one of my Mad Max RT videos. I thought it would be kind of fun to try it out and break in this GoPro, and at the same time, take the car out in kind of a maiden voyage. I'm already researching getting some Mopar Stage 1 springs. I think it drops it like just a hair over 1 inch, which is what I want. I want a really subtle lowering job to where I can still get it up on a flatbed trailer if it breaks down, or they can still get it up on the rack at the dealership. Some people go too low, and then it becomes impractical. You really ruin the car to where it rides like shit. You feel every bump. And so I want something that's relatively stock, but a little bit lower. So I'm going to get those Mopar Stage 1 springs probably next year. And then I think I'm going to get the rear window louvers for it, which is something I would give it a really cool old school look. And then I'm going to paint the graphics on the hood. I want to do the satin black RT on the top of the raised, more traditional RT hood. Do that on there, as well as it's a rough road here, but it's good to test this thing out on different types of roads. Yeah, it tracks really straight. I'm really happy with that. Thank God. It's going to need tires probably next year or the year after. It has the factory Goodyear tires on it, which are fairly good. They get pretty good mileage out of them. I want to get the BF Comp, TA ones from BF Goodrich, which are a little bit stickier. They don't last as long, but they handle good in the rain and in dry pavement. So I'll probably get those next year. And then again, do the graphics. I'm still debating. I may do some red Le Mans hashtag type fender stripes on the front fenders, only on the fenders, not on the hood. I think that would really look good. That may be the only color accent. I was debating putting the RT emblems on it, maybe one of them off to the side on the rear spoiler, but I may not. I may just keep it relatively stock and factory, but just put those the stock hash mark red stripes on the front fender, and then just paint that graphic on the hood, which I think would look nice. Very subtle. It just needs to be lowered a little bit. It's got a little bit too much gap around the wheels. There's another one like mine. I'm looking at the light now, one of the newer ones with the RT white stripes down the side of it. But I love the car, and I'm excited about doing it. To me, it's the last car that I'll ever own. I'm going to really try to take care of it, make sure nothing happens to it, drive it on the weekends, take it to Lake Tahoe. We might even take it to Tahoe this weekend. We'll see. I'm even thinking of taking it down to LA for Christmas at least once. I want to drive it down to LA just one time. That'd be kind of fun to get some footage of it driving on the LA freeways and driving around Beverly Hills and some of my old stomping grounds where I used to live and work down there. And so we'll see. Well, I'm anxious to do some more videos on my Mad Max RT, thing, which I've kind of let go. I just haven't done anything with it because I haven't driven the car. I didn't have much to say. In the meantime, watching all my friends continuing to make their, mod their cars and do their videos. So I hope you enjoyed this. I just wanted to kind of touch base with my car buds, let them know how I'm feeling, what my plans are with the car. I'm really excited. It feels so good to finally put some money into this thing and have it. To me, I want it like it was when it came right off the showroom. Running perfect, handling perfect, stopping perfect, perfect alignment, everything. That's what my goal is to get it like brand new again. And it's real close. The outside looks gorgeous. It looks like it. And the guys are always amazed at the Dodge dealership at how clean this thing is for a 2014. A lot of them by now have got 76,000 or more miles on them. And so it's kind of cool to have the thing to where where it runs good, looks good, there's barely any miles. I mean, this thing may never see 50 or 60,000. I don't know. If we move to Hawaii, I'll have it shipped over there. It costs about $1,000, and you know, we'll have a couple of our cars and vehicles shipped over. I may sell the truck by then before we go, or I may keep it. I haven't decided yet. But I'm real happy with the car. Very, very pleased, and looking forward to making more car content, especially as I do more mods. And I'm going to do some fun camera angles, mount the thing on the outside of the car as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm at my grocery store, get a few groceries for the weekend, and I'll be good to go. Thanks again for watching Mad Max RT, and I'll try to have some more content soon. Take it easy, guys.